All right, everybody. Welcome back to the 9 Years podcast, season 2021-22. You're listening on iTunes, YouTube, 9Wireless, podcast.org and Spotify. I am Nick Draper. Thank you very much for joining us again for the new season. Stu, I think this is our sixth. I should say I'm joined by the face of the BBC Sport website, Mr. Stuart Deacon. Stu, this is our sixth season of the podcast now.
I know, it's scary, isn't it? It's scary when you think about it. But yeah, I'm still amazed that we've got material to talk about, to be honest with you. But happy new season. I don't know, you can't really say it, do you? It's like happy new year. Happy new season 2021-22.
I hope I said that right at the start. I probably got it wrong. When I did the fixtures wallpaper for everyone for their smartphones, I immediately, in the first instance, I got it wrong. Initially, that's the word I'm looking for. Put the wrong years on because I got so confused. Lockdowns completely confused me with what year we're actually in. Now I'm just trying to think, is it the sixth season of the podcast? Is it 15-16 was our first? So 16-17, 17-18, 18-19, 19-20, 20. It's the seventh. It's the seventh one.
Because our first season we were lucky, weren't we? We had the promotion season.
Yes.
We were very lucky.
At Wembley. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're ever going to start a podcast, start it at the best point because we've been stuck in League One since then.
Yeah, it's not been much fun since then, to be honest with you. Let's be honest. It's been largely losing, changing managers, moaning about players who shall remain nameless. It's far too early into the season for me to start bringing up names from the past that have got us into trouble. But we're moving forward. And this week, first show of the season, we're just going to be looking ahead to the League One season and evaluating our chances under Mark Robinson, his first full season in charge. And then we're going to introduce a new feature to the podcast, which is we're going to be doing a look back to 20 years ago, because 20 years ago was the last season of the old Wimbledon FC at Selhurst Park and all the battle against the move to Milton Keynes. So we'll be reviewing what happened this week back then every week on the show. But Stu, let's begin looking ahead. League One this coming season. And I thought because last season was so weird, no one was in the stadium. We couldn't see any of the games. It was very difficult to keep track of what was actually going on. So I'll just go a quick refresh of what actually happened last season, which was that we finished 19th on 51 points. But Hull won the league. Peterborough were runners-up and got promoted. And Blackpool were also promoted through the playoffs. They beat Lincoln City in the playoff final. Bristol Rovers, Swindon Town, Northampton Town, and Rochdale fell through the trapdoor. So we're saying goodbye to those four teams. Replacing those 7 teams, coming down from the Championship, Sheffield Wednesday, interesting case, Rotherham United and Wycombe Wanderers. Backwards, not really been away, have they? Because we weren't in stadiums last season, so I don't really feel like that's a new team. Same with Rotherham, to be honest with you, the stereotypical yo-yo side. And then coming up, there are a few different teams for this division, but maybe not for us. Cheltenham Town, Cambridge United, Bolton Wanderers again. We didn't really miss them last season because they weren't there. We went there. And Morecambe, surprisingly, promoted to beat Newport County. Let's just start, before we go any further and looking into our squad and what's changed from last season, just interested, look at those 7 teams that are joining the league this season. There's some real question marks. The biggest question mark for me is Sheffield Wednesday. And then financial issues all over the shop. They're not tipped by anyone to be making a return. Do you think they're in any danger of falling through the division again, or are they just going to be stuck in mid-table doing not a lot?
I'd be amazed if they went through the leagues. What was the last big club? Well, I suppose Bradford City, but even Bradford City are not on the level of Sheffield Wednesday. If you look at their history, and it's a big steel city, isn't it? Sheffield United, Sheffield Wednesday. So I'd be amazed if they drop through. Their fan expectation seems okay though, in terms of there doesn't seem to be that much of expectation. And when you look here, they let a lot of players go, like Jordan Rose, Kieran Westwood. I think the only one that has stayed is it Bannon in midfield? I'm not noticed that he's gone anywhere yet. So I would have thought, but in terms of their signings, they've only put 2 players on sort of undisclosed bids, but a lot of loans in and stuff like that. So the expectation is that they're gonna sort of stabilise, if you can say that, in League One. But no, I don't put them, in terms of we're going to put our predictions for the season, I don't see them figuring in either top or bottom of the table.
Now, the other 2 teams that came down, I have got down in my top 6, Rotherham and Wycombe. Do you agree with me on that one? Rotherham, simply because they always are. They've sort of got the handle on this division, haven't they? And they always do well, and they understand how to play, and they're very difficult. They're very, very difficult to beat. Got a good manager there, Paul Warne. Wickham, I think I'm going to put in the playoffs because Sam Vokes, really, to be honest with you.
I know, it's a mad signing, isn't it?
They've got enough about them to be challenging again. I wouldn't surprise. I'm going to put them in the top 6. I think they'll be up there.
Yeah, do you know what? It's interesting actually, well, because they didn't spend. In terms of the TV money, I think it's an extra £4 million that you get compared to League One for TV revenue, and then on top of that, they've sold Freddie Onidimya and Uche Penza, so Luton and Middlesbrough respectively. So they've got a bit of money out of that, and then spent some money on Sam Vokes. They got Sally Kai, but is he any? How old is he now? Like, because he's done the rounds, isn't he? Like, if you remember properly, didn't he do he was with where did we get Kwesi from in the end? Was it Cambridge? Was it
Cambridge? Yeah,
and he was there as well.
That's where Kai was. Yeah.
Yeah, and it seemed to be those are the ones that were being loaned out all the time and stuff. But he must be about like 40 odd now, Sally Kai. Can't be that fast. But yeah, I think I can't see Wickham not being up there because yes, we all know how they got into the playoffs after the points per game stuff like that. They still got through them, but they stayed up until the last day of the season. No one expected that. So I suppose it's just can Gareth Ainsworth get them going again? But I'm like you. I'm expecting them to be up at the top, the business end of the season or the league. Sorry,
alongside Rotherham, or not so much Rotherham.
Oh yeah, Rotherham are a yo-yo club in this league, aren't they? Although what I would say though, Rotherham have lost. Well, yeah, and that's a big loss for them. That's a big loss for them. Yes, don't get me wrong. They brought in Ollie Rathbone from Rochdale, Shane Ferguson from Millwall. So yeah, some good replacements. But and Jamie Proctor now, who always used to play well against us, is now probably retired. But yeah, Matt Crooks, lovely player. But Borough of Middlesbrough again have done well picking him up.
What about the newbies from League Two? I think there's one, Cambridge, that if I was going to say, if I had to pick one of the 4, Cambridge, Cheltenham, Bolton, Morecambe, that I think are in most danger, I would pick Cambridge personally. A lot of people are saying Morecambe. I think Morecambe are going to be fine. I'm not expecting them to put up any trees, but I'm expecting them not to go down. Yeah,
do you know what the problem with Morecambe is? They lost their top goal scorer. Again, Luton picking up all the scraps. They've I can't remember his name now, but I know went to Luton. Gomez, I think it was. And also they've lost their manager. So it's very difficult, isn't it? We've got a team that's promoted, and let's be fair, we thought last season that we'd be playing Morecambe in a League Two fixture. That was the most likely thing to happen. And we're playing each other in League One. But I've got Morecambe finishing bottom. I'll be truthful on that. And I think Cambridge are in risk as well, because again, they lost their top goal scorer, went to Wrexham to join the Hollywood Fantasy season over there.
I mean, Cambridge for me, yeah, they're the ones most at risk. Morecambe, I just look at Morecambe and I think they brought John O'Beaker in, Ryan Delaney's gone in there, Anthony O'Connor's gone in there, Shane McLaughlin is a decent squad player. Their manager now, by the way, you're quite right, Derek Adams left because he wanted to go to Bradford, didn't he? He wanted to stay in League Two with Bradford. So they've got Stephen Robinson in from who was formerly at Motherwell. So I don't know. I just think they've got a bit about them. I think it'll be a tricky place to go as well for some clubs. So,
yeah, it's a horrible place to go. Let's be fair. There's no, Sheffield Wednesday going to Morecambe are going to really realise what League One's all about. But I just, I don't know. And also, from what I understand, a lot of them are on 1-year contracts, which I don't know, never really gives you that much of. In the way, a 1-year contract suggests to me that they actually think they're going to struggle this season. So, is it that mentality that might do them? But I think they finished bottom by miles.
We mentioned the managerial change there. There are 3 new managers in the league. Richie Wellens has gone in at Doncaster, and we'll talk more about him and Doncaster later because that's our first game of the season that we'll be previewing. The other one, of course, is some team in Buckinghamshire, which has really upset the apple cart because after a good season last season, I think lots of people were looking at them being right up there this season. And now he's gone. Russell Martin's gone. He's gone to Swansea. And Dean Lewington is in temporary charge at the moment, and that might just derail any hope their dozens and dozens of fans had of any success this campaign.
Yeah, you know what, talking about a football point of view, you can see where Russell Martin's gone to Swansea. Swansea love to play lovely football, and no matter what you think about that club up at the concrete roundabout, they have a tendency to want to play football. So you can see a logic on it. They're a selling club now, aren't they? They're in serious trouble. Can't always keep being funded up by the hotel. And it'll be interesting to see who comes in there, because I don't think there's a lot of money in there, which is it's a shame.
Yeah, real shame. Gutted for them. But there you go. There are our 7 new clubs, our new managerial changes as well. But what about us, Stu? What are the changes that have happened to us over the summer? Well, we've lost a few and we've gained a few. So as I've mentioned just there, Shane McLaughlin left the club. He's joined up at Morecambe. Callum Riley, Luke O'Neill have left as well. Matt Cox has gone. We thought he might feature at some point this season. Arch Proctor's gone on loan to Accrington. Shayon Harrison's moved on. Joe Pigott, obviously, we lost, and he's ended up at Ipswich, and we'll talk more about Ipswich later. And then no returns. We had youngsters on loan. We had Donnell Johnson, he's ended up at Fleetwood. George Dobson, we also lost, and he's up at Charlton now, who should do well this season. Oxanen, Yako, Ryan Logman, Sam Walker in goal, not coming back. In their places, who's the pick of the new signings? Luke McCormack in centre midfield with George Marsh. Darius Charles is back, more as a sort of a coaching capacity more than a playing capacity, perhaps. Zaki Uwala in goal. I think I pronounced that correctly. I hope I have.
Uwala.
And then the big loanees, 3 now. Stephen Presley, dear me. He's the Hearts manager.
Dear.
Aaron Presley, of course, from Brentford. Henry Lawrence from Chelsea. And then Dapo Mbade joining us from what is a horrible place up in Hertfordshire. And he's done well to get out of there, to be honest with you. But
he went from Scotland. He went from Glasgow to Watford. Come on, dear. Someone's not taught him geography, have they, at school?
Not very well, certainly. Who was the biggest loss, and who's the pick of the new players for you? Obviously the biggest loss is Joe Pigott, because that's goals. I mean, that's going to be the theme of our season, isn't it?
Yeah, Joe Pigott's a big loss, but we sort of knew it. In terms of signings this season, I'm going to be totally, you probably be surprised this, but our biggest signing was the one we got on a 3-year contract in terms of Avasal. That's our best signing the whole season. Like, we won't get anything better in the summer. A 3-year contract for Asal, that is like the best. That's for me the best move. But if we're looking for players coming in, you've got to look, Luke McCormack. And also this highly rated Henry Lawrence from Chelsea on loan, who is seriously rated. And by all accounts, from what I understand, is his first day in training was breathtaking. So, I think the way we're going to play this season is with pace. Obviously we lost Luke O'Neill, but Luke O'Neill wasn't less with pace, was he? So I think the way Robbo wants to play is high energy, a high fullbacks, and it looks like we're going to obviously have Henry Lawrence and Lester Guinness Walker on either side. So a lot of pace in there. But yeah, if you're going to say what was the best one, Luke McCormack, who's looked sensational in pre-season.
Is that our strength in this season? Is pace going to be our biggest strength? Because weaknesses, we're going to talk about goals. Like I say there, we've lost Joe Pigott. He's top scorer for the last 3 seasons, guarantee of 20 goals at least. He's gone. We've not got a guaranteed replacement for those goals. So is that our biggest weakness? And then, like I say, is it, as you mentioned there, our pace and our fitness that's going to be our biggest strength? Or am I missing something else?
No. The strength is going to be energy, and that will come because we're going to have the youngest average age team in the whole 4 divisions, probably by a good year, I reckon, on stuff like that. But I think, we're going to be pacey, we're going to be high press, and we're going to be fit. And that only shows itself by the way that Robbo, forsake an extra week in training to basically give him a 3-week start before pre-season because he wanted them fit. He did the Richmond bike ride, which was all, it was really well covered. But he wants a fit team, and he didn't. When he picked up the team last year, he had a fit team, but he wants them a bit fitter. And that's, you look at Alex Woodyard, said he's been the fittest he's been since he's come back, it's the fittest he's ever been. So I think that's how we're going to play. The weakness is, goals. Joe Pigott. I think the thing with Joe Pigott, he just gets cheap goals. And I know, you know what I mean by that. He just gets in the right place. You think, how the hell has he ended up there? He just reads the game, doesn't he? And sometimes there's many games last season when we had that run that we weren't playing well, but we just got some cheap goals from Joe. And equally, we got some really special ones. The winner against Rochdale, and it's half a chance. So that's going to replacing those goals is challenging. But then we've got Aaron Presley coming in. and hopefully a fit Ollie Palmer, who, if we can get, say, 30 games out of him this season, I think we get goals through Ollie. I really do.
What are we looking at in terms of formation then and approach? I know you say high energy and pressing teams and working hard and what have you, but how does it look on the pitch? And what have we learned from pre-season in that regard? Is it a flat back four? Is it a three in midfield? Is it two holding midfielders and then three slightly more forward? Is it one up top? Is it two up top? Is Mbadi coming alongside Palmer? How does it work?
It's been a difficult one to reread because we played a few different formations, played three at the back, played 4-2-2, played 4-4-2, played a 4-2-2-2, 2-2-2-2. We everyone keeps on doing that, don't they? But I think the base will be two holding midfielders. That'll be my gut feeling. And I think that obviously looks like at the moment, well, Alex Wajada is a guarantee. Looks like he's going to be our captain this year. And then you've got Hartigan or George Marsh around him. I think that would very much depend on how the games are. I think in terms of up front, I think we might play a one, but I think, if you talk to Robbo and actually as this is released, you'd have just been hearing at the man of match manager. What's it called? Meet the manager. That's the thing.
Meet the manager, Stu. You can't say person of the match now. Remember that. You can't say no gendered language anymore.
Yeah, if you'd have listened to this, Robbo, Meet the manager, and I think what he want to try and do is he want to try and play a 4-2-2. He want a 4-4-2. He want to make sure that he gets more from Asal. I think he was playing further forward this year, but he probably will also say that he did play two up most of the season. But I think we did, I think the old traditional was two up top all the time isn't what we're going to do. We're going to try and play with two, but ultimately they're going to have to do a job elsewhere. But I think the excitement this year is, I think if we get McCormick, Asal, and Radoni in a three, potentially behind one forward, that's dangerous. Like, there is a lot of talent in there and pace. So I think it'll be really exciting going forward, but our weaknesses probably are defensively this year. But that also might be the way because of the way we're going to play.
Who are your two centre halves for opening day?
Will Nightingale and Ben Hennigan. I think they're the best pairing. I think, it's difficult, isn't it? Because we sort of forgot about Ben Hennigan. He's got injured, but we remember when he come in early on, he got the goal up at Gillingham. He got the goal against Gillingham, didn't he, in midweek? I know we lost that game in the end. Yeah, we did. Did we do that? No, I can't remember now. So many games. But he's a threat. He's a threat. And I think Will Nightingale, you play. I know he's not played much of pre-season, but he still kept himself fit. I think you go with them two. I think they're your strongest pairing. I think Paul Cannon-Baye, yes, could push. But if you're going to say to me who's going to start, it'd be Hennigan and Nightingale.
Therefore, what did we learn from pre-season? Are we just going to rubbish? I mean, I don't pay attention to pre-season, Stuart. It's all nonsense. It doesn't matter. But people are worried. We've already talked about lack of goals, and we struggled in pre-season to score goals. Just the one win from however many games. Met Police, I think we beat. Otherwise, losses to the likes of Kingstonian and Woking and people like that. But results, they're not important, are they, in pre-season?
They're not important, but you don't want to lose or not score. Do you know what I mean? But I think pre-season was just mucked up this year. If you look at it, the Brentford game was supposed to be a test event, but because Boris delayed it again, where we heard that before, that become a game of like just playing 2,000. Done well in that. Then obviously we have the games Kingstonians, Met Police. I've done 4. I think I've done the Brentford game, the Hampton, Richmond, Woking, and the Scunthorpe lost just Saturday gone. And one thing I learned from it, if I'm being honest with you, was probably that football is back because people moaned about pre-season. Like, like when people go to games, you hear them go, why have I come? Like, we always know it's rubbish. Why have I come? I heard that from loads of people, and it actually made me feel quite happy because it just meant, you know what, football's back. Fans are back because we've all moaned about that. We've all done it. It'd be a great game. You get there and think, this is a waste of time. So that's what I learned. Football is back.
Football is back, but pre-season is to be. I don't know if there's a phrase that could be like
rubbish.
Kids should be seen and not heard. Pre-season should be. I don't know. We should be aware of it, but never actually have to watch any of it because it's always.
Yeah, it's never played at a tempo. It's never played at a tempo, and I got the idea of Robbo saying he wanted players to look like they really wanted it, but it's just there's nothing on the game, And let's be fair, these players have played behind closed doors and behind, wasn't many fans. I think 700 at Woking. I think they just, and also they've had that little temptation of Plough Lane. Playing Brentford, done a good result. Played Scunthorpe, got done. But they've had that little bit of exposure. I think they're like us. I think they just want to get the first game of the season, obviously at Doncaster, and then thankfully back to a potential full house at home to Bolton.
Yes, very much so. We're talking about that more probably next week. Prediction then for the season as a whole for us, not the top 20 podcast, have us in 16th. It's the highest they've ever predicted us to finish. They said they're very high on Ayub Asal and Jack Rodoni, I think, and they're very high on what they've heard about Aaron Presley as well. I think they tempered those slightly by just pointing out they're still very young, and with that comes potentially inconsistency. You can't expect them to do it every single week, and we understand that, but they're very high on them and the manager, and they thought that, again, they just highlighted the issue being goals with Pickett not being there, but they said 16th. 442 magazine, 22nd, have us going down, but I think they always do. Again, their rationale, can't argue with it. Goals, again, it's just coming back to this. I think there are questions. We're close to. We have a slightly better understanding. I don't think either you or I think we're going to be in any danger of going down this season, but I think there are question marks about who's going to score for our goals for us, and you could argue there's a question at our end of our defensive end as well, and what goes on between our sticks as well.
Yeah, and there's loads of things, isn't there, really? And to be fair, the Not Top 20 is a very good podcast and very switched on with lower league football. So, not that I don't listen to anyone else, but normally they're quite switched on. And it's right, Robbo is, the reason we've got these players in is Robbo worked his proverbials off in the postseason, getting amongst these clubs and going, look, we can be a good club for you. So, Robbo's a big strength of it. My worry is, I think I've said this before, like clubs that go to new grounds don't always do well in their first season. I think the only club that did better than the previous season was Arsenal when they went to the Emirates, but then that's because they were at the library before. But a lot of the other clubs have had shocking seasons in a new ground, and we are, we're going to have away fans that want to come to our ground because it's a new ground, and I think our home games might challenge them. So that's my worry. Goal-wise, Robbo's already said last season that he wanted to share the goals around, because if you rely on one forward, then you're in a little bit of trouble. Yes, we don't want to lose Joe Pickett, but we have. That's the way it goes. But if we can get goals from the midfield area, from McLaughlin, Rudy's a year older.
We'll be doing very well if we get goals from McLaughlin.
Sorry. McCormick, that's going to be a trouble this season. I don't want to call him Macca because I hate calling players by their nicknames. That's for their players, not for us. But Asal is going to be like, let's be fair, we could have a firecracker on our hands here. I was fortunate enough to go down to
not up our backsides.
No. I was fortunate enough to go down to the training ground a couple of weeks ago, watch him play, just warming up for I think it was a Brentford game. Robbo kindly invited us down there just to meet the players and obviously for the podcast and stuff. And it's the first time I'd seen Asal live as such. And I think my mouth was just dropping on the floor. I was just like, I couldn't get over how quick this lad is and how quick he is with the ball and how quick he is without the ball. And I saw him playing up against Ben Hennigan. And I think Ben Hennigan just wanted to just chop him off. Like, he looked like he really didn't want to be marking him. And I think we've got one hell of a player on our hands. So, look, he's going to be double marked. That might help us for Rodoni. It did start happening that people started setting out to stop him playing, which is the biggest compliment when you think he only got 11 games in last year. And yeah, I think we get goals elsewhere. But, if Presley and Palmer click, there's goals there. Presley got 19 and 23 for Brentford B last year. So he knows what the net is. Yeah, I think we should. I'm not that worried.
No, I'm not worried at all. I think not top 20 saying 16th, and I wouldn't argue with that personally. I think that's perfectly realistic. We shall see. What about elsewhere in the division? We'll keep Doncaster until last. We've mentioned Bolton are back up, and no one's expecting Bolton to trouble the table at either end, really. Just looking around elsewhere in League One, some noticeable transfers. Again, Harry Pell has gone to Accrington Stanley, and again, we expect Accrington to be fine, shouldn't be struggling, but again, probably shouldn't be challenging. The clubs I'm going to mention now, actually, clubs we don't expect to be challenging, or I don't expect to be challenging, or being interested at either end of the table come the end of it. Burton Albion being one of those, but Deji Oshilaja has joined Hasselbank there. Doncaster we'll come on to them in a second. Crewe should be fine. Callum McFadson's gone in there. Gillingham, similarly, will be fine. Ollie Lee has joined full time after he was there for a little bit for last season, and Ben Rees, interestingly enough, has gone there as well. Mentioned Morecambe. Wigan have recruited quite well, but I think they'll be mid-table. That's Max Power, Charlie White's gone there, Ben Amos. They've done quite well. Rotherham we've mentioned. What do you make of some of the other teams here, though, in terms of challenging for promotion? Let's start with Charlton. George Dobson's gone there. He was with us last season. Jaden Stockley's also gone there. They're under Nigel Adkins' proven track record of success at this level. Are you expecting them to be in the top 6?
Yeah, I've gone for them. I've gone for them runs up, to be fair, because I think Atkinson's got, he's a big time manager. He knows what to do. They got rid of Charles Cave gone out and Ben Amos to Wigan. But yeah, George Dobson coming in and Craig McGallivy from Pompey. Pompey are letting everyone go, aren't they? That'll be interesting to see how they do. But I think the manager. Do you know what's interesting? We look at the players that have been let go, like Darren Prattley's been let go. I think he's gone to Leyton Orient. Deji's gone to
Burton.
I forgot where he went now. Marcus Madison's Marcus Madison's just literally gone to non-league for whatever reason. And the little magician, Ozima, who got released.
Yeah, lost him as well,
Yeah, so and not that I expected us to get him, but yeah, I think Charlton haven't done loads of business, but the business they have done, Jaden Stockley as well coming in. So I see them as being runners up, mainly because of the strength of the squad they had initially, but also because of Atkins, because I think he's just been there and done it. I think he's a strong manager.
Who have you gone to finish above them then? Because I'm looking at Ipswich, Lincoln, Sunderland. Is it any of those 3?
Ipswich, Ipswich are mine.
Yeah, Ipswich,
The business Ipswich have done is just ridiculous. Wes Bone from Fleetwood, Macaulay Bone, I don't know what it's called, but highly rated at QPR, the goalkeeper from Salford, who is a highly rated. Obviously, Pigs, Scott Fraser from them, did well for them. Connor Chaplin.
Connor Chaplin, yeah.
It's it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Let's be fair. Manager Paul, I forgot his name now. I'm getting old.
Cook.
That's the one, Mr. Cook. He don't go anywhere where there isn't money, but they've literally got some very, very good players in, and I think Ipswich will not run away with it, but I think Ipswich and Charlton will stretch it out just because the goals they've got in them.
Lincoln
is strong.
Hackey,
Yeah.
got in there. Yeah, they're strong. I think they'll do well.
Well, Lincoln haven't, there's not been much. So the good thing about it is they haven't really done much. They've not they lost George Grant to Peterborough, but that's fair enough. But they haven't lost a lot. They picked up their normal loans. They picked up another loan from West Brom. It's probably going to be another good loan. He does well with his loans. I was Teddy Bishop on in there. But yeah, Chris Maguire, a strong player from Sunderland. And I know it sounds silly, but he might do better being, Sunderland has just got so much expectation. Where Lincoln probably have, but no one's going to say they're going to romp it. But I've got them finishing the playoffs, especially if you think about the playoffs last year, like how exciting was that in the playoffs last year when they were? They're going to be better for the experience. So I'm expecting them to get the playoffs and do well.
Where do Sunderland finish in your predictions, along with Portsmouth and Oxford, as their teams that I've got troubling the top end?
Sunderland I've got finishing in just above Wickham. Wickham I've got for the final playoff place. Sunderland's a difficult one, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Again, not loads of business. They've obviously, Charlie White's gone out and George Dobson's gone out. Yeah, they've let some of their big earners go. Max Power, Chris Maguire, they're all big earners, Grant Leadbitter. I don't know, it's that expectation. Like the Sunderland fans have had a season missing, but what is it their 4th season in League One? They're only supposed to be here for a quick. They're only supposed to be here for a quick visit and then back into the Championship. Is that pressure from? Because this is the challenge we're going to have. The fans have missed football. We've all missed football, but does it also mean that the clubs that notoriously, and Ipswich are one of these, the clubs that notoriously think they're better than what they are and they should be higher than what they are they going to have that expectation? Are the fans going to be overpowering? I think Sunderland always are. So I think they just scrape into the playoffs.
Not Oxford, no.
No, I don't like Oxford. So
fair enough.
That clouded.
No, none of us do.
That clouded my judgment. Yeah, do you know what? Steve Sadden's gone in there, but they've lost. Yeah, they've lost some players, haven't they? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not convinced that Oxford are going to do much. I think it'll be a last season there for him because he's just not. He's coming to the end of his I think they wanted to be up by now, didn't they? And Pompey, yeah, I've not got Pompey finishing in. I think Pompey are going to have really interest. And again, I think they're going to be one of the clubs that are going to struggle because of the fan pressure. Their fans are not happy at the moment. They've lost a lot of players who have gone because they were offered. Pompey notoriously have been offering players on shorter contracts, trying to get them reduced salaries and stuff, which is great because they've lost a lot. They lost a lot of money, but some of those players have gone on the back of it. And I don't know. I think Pompey may. I don't see Pompey doing much next year.
Good manager though, and Simon Bassey got in there as coach as well. So
yeah,
always a chance.
Yeah, there is. Do you know what's interesting with County Brothers? And I don't get me wrong, I was really hopeful that they might come to us. And Robbo's obviously done an amazing job. But when they went in Huddersfield with a bit of pressure, they got they went, and when they've done successfully, like at Lincoln's and Concord, been notoriously in lower crowds. Pompey are expecting, but I don't think they got the budget this year, and I think it's a very. If you think, I've not got Oxford or Pompey in my top 6. I've not got Sheffield Wednesday in my top 6. That just probably shows you how tough this division is. The teams that you think would normally be in our top 6 are not, because it's a tough league. Like, don't look at the fixture list, because I did for the first 2 months, and I was like, oh my days, we've got a tough start.
It's a tough league this season. It really is. Lots of clubs, big clubs, and clubs, like I say, that I think have recruited well and will be a surprise to people. On top of that, just a quick yes or no for whether these teams will get relegated if they're in the bottom 4. Plymouth.
No, I think Plymouth are just gradually improving. I like their model up there. I think got a good manager. I think they would just progress and probably just finish outside the playoffs, but I don't think they'll be in any trouble at all.
Shrewsbury.
Spending money apparently, but I just don't see how they can threaten the top half. But they won't be threatened for relegation. Mid-table for them.
Fleetwood.
Fleetwood is a massive one, isn't it? Because they have cut their budget massively. I will be really interested to see how they go, because there's been distress signals from their owner, isn't it? Because his business and stuff like that, and they've let a lot of big earners go. So I think they will just about survive. But if you look at some of the signs they've done, yes, Donald Johnson's gone in there, but Tom Clark from Salford. I don't know how old he is. He's proper old. Although they have picked up a player, I just noticed actually, it's gone in late. Callum Morton from West Brom, who I really, really like. But their budget is really gone now. So I think Fleetwood would probably, I don't think they get relegated, but I think mid-table easy.
What do you make of Doncaster then? They are our first. Well, actually, no, before I get on to that, sorry. So who are your 4 to go down? You've got Cheltenham. You said you've got Cheltenham to go down. Sorry, not Cheltenham. Morecambe and Cambridge to go down.
Yeah.
Who are your other 2?
So I've got Morecambe finishing bottom, Cambridge finishing above them, and I've got Gillingham being the surprise relegation team. I really think Gillingham.
That is a surprise. Yeah.
I just don't see where they're going, and I don't see Steve Evans staying there long this season. I think he'll get bored. But when I looked at it, they brought Max Hamer back who got relegated Bristol Rovers. That's not a good sign, is it? Do you know what I mean? In terms of he just got a team relegated. Well, not him alone, but I think they'll be the surprise one dropping out.
Who's the 4th?
Sorry, Cheltenham. Just because I think they haven't done much business, so they've kept the team they've got. I just don't. Cheltenham isn't a fortress. It's a lovely place to go to for the horse racing. And we'll probably have a midweek. We normally get a midweek away. I've not checked that, but we normally do. I know historically the teams that come up don't always go back down, but I just think it's such a tough league this year that I think I've got 3 of the teams that come up came back down again. So yeah, might happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with Cheltenham going down. Certainly Cambridge, I think, will do. I do think Morecambe are going to be all right. Shrewsbury, I think, could be their year to go, as clubs tend to do, don't they? Tend to bounce around clubs like Shrewsbury, like we saw last season with and stuff. But Doncaster, what do you make of Doncaster then? So opponents on Saturday, they've brought. Do you know what? I have to do it because they've signed him. But it's the annual mention of Geordie Hawula, who gets on this show every single season preview edition because he keeps moving clubs, whether it be Coventry or Fleetwood or whoever it is. But now he's at Doncaster. I think he's a good player. Ben Close has gone there. Tommy Rowe's gone there. I don't see them challenging. Again, I just see this as a mid-table season for them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, do you know what? For the teams that I saw last year, I thought Doncaster played the best football. I thought they were really good. And yeah, obviously losing Darren Moore as well was a big loss for them going to Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I don't think we're going to get much change out of them on Saturday. But I don't think, last season they were threatening to get into the playoffs. I just don't see it this year. I see them being a very average season for them. And but I think they're a tough team and they've recruited well. But yeah, you're right. Ruler goes everywhere, doesn't he? It's like, does he just get homesick all the time?
Would homesick be the right word? He keeps moving to different parts of the country. It's very strange.
He just can't sit anywhere, can he? So when he calls somewhere at home, he gets sick.
This must be it. What do they make of their manager then? Richie Wellens has come in, so he was previously at Salford. I just think everything about this club at the moment screams to me, like maybe like 10th place finish or something like that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Decent manager. We probably got. I thought it was disgraceful how he got ditched by Salford. I'm being honest with you. When they talk about, anyway, I'm not going to get into all that stuff in a fair game, but it's not. It's a weird one, isn't it? It's for a start of the season. It's not the worst fixture, away to Doncaster, but they do sort of go under the radar sometimes, don't they? But yeah, they're not going to. Like I say, it's just going to be an average season for them. They're not going to be doing what they did last year and threatening to get into the mix up for the playoffs.
Prediction then for Saturday, first game of the season, scoreline. What do you reckon?
I think it'd be a very tight game. I think we could end up losing that game just simply because of first game. And I know you shouldn't read pre-season, but I think it's stupid if you don't, because I think we haven't scored enough goals, and I think we're still a little bit on a getting to know each other. So I'm probably predicting a narrow loss up there.
I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw to start the season. Elsewhere in League One this weekend, there's a couple of fixtures that scream out straight away. Sunderland, Wigan is one. Charlton, Sheffield Wednesday. I think both games, at least certainly Charlton, Sheffield Wednesday is on TV for whatever reason. So those are the games I'm looking out to be most interested in, aside from ours. But it's opening day, so who knows? We'll just sit back and enjoy seeing the scores come in, see who does what on the opening weekend. We then have, don't forget, a League Cup tie on Tuesday evening away at Charlton at the Valley. No one's talking about this game currently. £10 for a ticket, I think, you can get from the Charlton website now if you want to go. But they're only going to open 2 stands, I think. I'm not going personally. But yeah, I mean, do we putting anything into the League Cup this year? Do you think Charlton are going to put anything in? Do you think they're going to rest a few players early on? Bit of squad rotation?
Difficult to know, isn't it? I just looked at it and thought, when are we going to get a home tie? I know we've got 1 or 2 here, but away at Charlton is a tough one, isn't it? Midweek. So no, I'm not going to go. It's a difficult one, isn't it? I'm probably going to do it home this season and probably a few away, but I'm not overly. I'm not doing Doncaster. Travelling at the moment is not for me. But yeah, look, we could surprise ourselves and get through, but I'm not too sure. But there are some interesting, like I say, in QPR. Do you know what? I was looking at the start of the season and I was laughing my head off because my good mate Darren is a QPR fan. And they start at home to Millwall. Like, welcome back to crowds, and you got Millwall coming to Selhurst Road. Oh my days! Like, yeah, what a game to start the season, but that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure the fixture computer was had its head screwed on for that one particularly.
Yeah.
But hey, Sutton United have got promoted. They're in the Football League. They're in the EFL Cup at Cardiff on Tuesday night as well. Their pitch isn't quite Rio, so their first home games had to be relocated to whoever they're playing. I've forgotten who now. So, but yeah, weird to see Sutton in especially after what happened a couple of years ago when we played them. But
it's interesting as well.
By the ties,
definitely. Do you know what's interesting with Sutton United as well? I was reading Tracy Crouch did that. Obviously, looking into the governance of football and stuff like that. And I noticed one of the things she said was that she didn't want clubs to have to rip up their grounds when getting promoted, and she was happy enough with artificial pitches in League 1 and 2. And I was sitting there going, thinking, Sutton have just literally, I think, spent £500,000 doing that. I find it amazing. You can play in the FA Cup on those pitches. You can play in the Champions League on those artificial pitches, but you can't play in League 2. And that's simply because the League 2 clubs have voted against it every time it's been put through. But how stupid.
You know what, though? I kind of applaud them in a way, because if you've got those rules, this is the problem with, I'm going to go on my philosophical rant, Stu. When you have rules in society, you've got to stick by them, because if you let something go, then sooner or later the wall falls completely. And if you were to allow artificial pitches into League One, League Two, Championship, every club would do it because of the money they could make off it, like Sutton were doing. So I think I prefer to have real grass.
They're not alone though. Harrogate had to do the same thing. And they shared at Doncaster. So and then actually, do you know what's interesting with Harrogate? They played Rochdale in the first game of the season. And I picked that out because you've got Harrogate non-league. They a couple of years ago, they were 3 or 4 leagues apart. And now you've got Rochdale. Just how are Rochdale going to do now going into League Two? Could drop out. Could drop out of the league. So interesting matchup on the first day of the season.
Updates will be available, of course, on our Twitter at 9YRS Podcast. Ask a Prediction League as well, Stu. I'm determined to see this through properly this season. So I'm going to put my predictions on the Ask a Prediction League. If you simply Google Ask a Prediction League, ARSKA, and it's all ready to go right now. I've checked it out. You can type in your scores and see how you get on in the league table over the course of the season. We'll keep you updated on the podcast as well. And you can predict game by game, or you can predict a few games in advance, whatever you want to do. But I'll be doing that. Right, new season, all very exciting. I know we know, Stu, we're well aware there's lots of other issues going on at the club at the moment. We won't touch on this week. Let's be positive. Let's just look forward to the season. We can talk about Stadium next week before the Bolton game, before our first proper game at Plough Lane, and we can get excited about that. But one little bit of news I wanted to touch on very briefly. What do you make of the new third kit, which we have seen red with green trim? Bit of a throwback to kits of yesteryear, or the time of yore, whatever.
Yeah, we obviously recording this on Wednesday night, aren't we? So we're just seeing the launch video, and it's not a surprise that we've gone for red and green. I think we've been trying to say that for a little while. And when you sort of know the people that were involved in selecting the kits and stuff like that, and obviously with the theme that we had for last season's kit, it's not really a surprise. It looks like, obviously, we haven't seen it up close, but it looks like there's some sort of design on it with Puma. Do you know what? I'm not going to call it basic, but it's not fussy. Sometimes the not fussy kits are good, if you know what I mean. But I love the idea of red and green. I think it goes really well, and hopefully, if we go for red and green, we can go for the pink kit. Possibly next season.
Maybe one day we'll have a pink kit.
We will get a pink kit or salmon.
Salmon, if you want to. If you want to get your Dulux chart out, Stu. Yes, salmon, salmon shirt, and maybe after that, Winterberry. And there's my friend's reference for this week.
The thing is, though, where are we going to wear it, Nico? Because, what clubs
on your top, Stu? It's a shirt. You wear it on your upper body.
We wear at Plymouth, don't we? So where do we normally? Because I always remember that maroon kit that we had and we won at Plymouth midweek. It just looked like 2 dull kits. Like that purple kit, even if you had the most brightest of floodlights, it still looked dull. But I liked it. But I'm just thinking, where are we going to wear it? Because it's a third kit. Could we wear it at the first game of the season, maybe? No, we can't. Doncaster playing red. Everyone plays in red.
Well, not
nearly.
We can't wear it at Doncaster. Doncaster, I imagine, will play in blue because we can't play in red, and we'll need the yellow kit, I imagine, for Charlton because of getting the kits ready and what have you, even though I think we should play in blue in both, but that's another conversation for another day. So the first time we could probably play in the red kit would be away at Ipswich, potentially. So,
yes. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, red for danger. Don't like red kits. Don't know, something. I like the kit, but I don't know, something about red kits. Don't like red.
Fair enough. You support Liverpool, didn't you?
When I was younger, yes. I did. No, and
I must have turned you off the red.
No, but that was. Do you know what? Can I just say a quick story? Actually, I was going. So we've gone to Plough Lane. I've gone 2 different routes because I love going down Hayden's Road, but I also went down Gap Road because I made them.
I was worried you were going to say you went via Anfield one day. I think that's a very circuitous route.
No, but it's really weird. Like, there's a row of houses on the corner of Gap Road, and then it gets Plough Lane. And my mate Darren's nan used to live there. We used to go and watch. Grandstand would it have been? Latest scores coming in, and then we'd run around the corner, and then we would go because Plough Lane at that time would let the gates open about 20 minutes, and we'd go in and just watch our football. And it's brought back a lot of memories because we went. I asked my wife, could we go that way? And it's really weird, like flashbacks of. And one of the games I used to go and watch it, was Liverpool, saw Ian Rush and stuff like that, and then went to my first game, Plough Lane, home to Arsenal, and that was it. I was converted and stuff like that. But I don't know about you. Obviously, I know you didn't go. I know you didn't go to Plough Lane. You're well too young for that. But it brings back a lot of memories.
I can imagine. I only have memories of going to poke around an abandoned Plough Lane with broken seats and all other things going on in the dressing rooms and things like that. But anyway, I can't remember in what year Plough Lane was actually demolished. I don't think it was too. It wasn't too long after. It was roughly, I think it was roughly about 20 years ago, which is good because our new feature on the podcast this year is looking back to 20 years ago because it was a momentous season. The 2001-2002 season was the last one of the old Wimbledon FC at Selhurst Park. And obviously it was the season of struggle with all the protests against the move to Milton Keynes. And I just thought this year on the podcast, Stu, every week we'll just have a look back at some of the memories from this week. We're going to go from leading up to the next Thursday. So we're going to work a week in advance. So this podcast is released on the 6th of August. So we're going to be looking from essentially this week up until next Thursday, basically. So a few key dates in this time of this momentous season. And it was on the 2nd of August when the announcement was made official that the club were going to relocate or attempt to relocate to Milton Keynes. And that's when people and season ticket holders were getting letters dropped on their doorsteps, and it was all before email contact and social media and all that business. So that's when we got the announcements. Do you remember getting the announcement? Do you remember hearing it? My memories of this are really hazy because we knew it before we knew it, didn't we? And it was just waiting for that official confirmation, I guess.
Yeah, it was. I remember it. I've been honest about it, Johnny. I was working at a club shop that year, and I really didn't think it would happen. I really didn't, and I was convinced it wasn't. And I was shocked. I don't know if shocked was the word. I think I was just like, I don't know. I think you zone out a little bit. You suddenly think, well, what am I going to do? So I sort of remember the announcement. It wasn't the days, let's be fair, it wasn't the days of Twitter and stuff like that. You heard through, can't remember, I had a mobile phone, so I'm being truthful now. I think I did, but it wasn't like it is now. So, news filtered through, and then you're thinking, well, how can we stop this? And you realise it was, you realise it was not a one that you could contend. So, a bit of stunned, I remember probably on that.
Yeah, it's all a bit of a blur to me now. But I think, my overriding memory is the same as you. I just thought, well, it's never going to happen. And over the next few weeks, we'll actually see why we were quite so confident to think that, especially when it came to the initial Football League vote. But anyway, the next day, bizarrely, we were in action away at Brentford in a pre-season friendly, a game we won 4-0, and Sam Hammam turned up. Quite why he turned up, nobody knows, but he's not having a nice experience that evening. I think he was sent away with a flea in his ear by a lot of fans who were putting a lot of the onus on him as to what had happened to the club since leaving Plough Lane. Did you go? I didn't go to that game. Did you go to that game?
No, and again, I think it was because I was just so stunned that I just didn't really want to watch you sort of just think, what's going to go on? So I didn't want to watch the football even on that. So no, I didn't go. And it's weird now, isn't it, when you think about it, playing in pre-season. I did go to Brentford for a pre-season game, but that was when we were under the AFC Wimbledon. And they were a supporters trust, I remember, back at that time as well.
They were at the time, I didn't go to the game, but I remember the reports that Hammam was there and was trying to, I don't know what he was attempting to do or achieve at that point, but fans did not take kindly to him and he was sent away. But as I say, we won that game 4-0 because the squad we had that season was one that should have won promotion. It was that strong a squad at the time, and clearly whatever else was going on at the club at the time had an impact. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I really don't. But on the opening day of the season, 11th of August, Birmingham City, who would end up winning the playoffs that year, I believe. They went up under Trevor Francis. I think they might beat Norwich in the playoff final, if I remember correctly. I can't remember. I might be getting... No, I don't think they did they?
I remember now. No.
Yes, they... No, I don't... Oh, God. Oh... No, it was the year before. Oh, I can't remember. I'm going to double check. But anyway, I think they did go up that year. But anyway, because I think they beat Villa in that famous Peter Enkelman foot under the throw-in goal the following season.
Oh, yes.
In the Premier League. So I think they did. Do you know what I'm doing? Right. Sorry, listeners. I'm getting myself embattled because I think they beat Norwich on penalties in the playoff final at Cardiff. But in my head, all I can picture is Trevor Francis hugging Andy Johnson for missing a penalty that meant they lost. But I think that was they got to the League Cup final against Liverpool the season before, and Andy Johnson missed a penalty, so Liverpool won the League Cup.
Was that when they were playing at the Cardiff, wasn't
Millennium Stadium? Yeah.
Yeah, I sort of remember that, yeah.
Yeah, so I think they did actually beat Norwich. I swear it was Norwich they beat in the playoff final. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, we beat them 3-1 that day, and their fans, their travelling fans at Soho, booed their team off. They thought they were so bad. We battered them that day. Neil Shipley with the opener. David Connolly got the second, and then Darren Pearce own goal with the third. Do you know who set up Connolly's goal? Who got the assist for David Connolly's goal that day?
I'm trying to think of the team that day. Kevin Cooper?
He set up the first goal. The
Mr. Hughes?
He set up who?
Mr. Hughes.
No, I think he took the free kick for the third goal. The second goal, Kevin Cooper set up the first from the left, and then the second goal came from the right, and it was David Nielsen, who is another story that at some point in the season we will revisit, no doubt. Yes, crazy David Nielsen with the assist. They got what was his name? Was it Brian Hughes? They scored an absolute worldie of a goal in the last minute for them, just to get a bit of respectability. But that was the Black Balloons protest, if you remember.
Yeah.
As well, that was all the signs and the banners and making it very clear. Premier League didn't start until the week after, so there was a bit of a statement made to the wider football public that year or that weekend. But that team should have got promoted. That team was so good. We just mentioned them there, the names: Kevin Cooper, Neil Shipley, David Connolly, Damien Francis, Mark Williams, Kelvin Davis in goal. Really, really good, really, really strong team. But do you remember that Birmingham game at all, really? Or is that another one that's fake? I remember it quite vividly, actually. I really do. Because I'm not going to lie to you, I didn't think Milton Keynes was going to happen. And I was very excited by the team on the pitch because I thought this was a team, on evidence of that game as well, that we're going to go up without too much trouble.
Yeah, I did think they were the names we had in there. If we'd kept that team the whole season, Shipley was doing really well, and it wasn't. Look at Joe McAnuff was coming through as well. We going back to there and Connolly, so definitely enough goals in that team. But what can let's be fair, that season very difficult for them to really play through what was going on off the field.
Something else that was going on off the field at the time, in the news of that time, ITV Sport is the one I picked up because that was the year of ITV Digital. And the ITV Sport channel putting games live on Friday nights and Saturday and Sundays at 6:15. The first game they showed was Man City beating Watford 3-0 with a Saturday 6:15 kickoff. And again, ITV Digital will be another story that we revisit throughout the season on this podcast for that year. I mean, I hated it. We didn't have access to it. It was on some weird cable channel service that we had Sky. We had like whatever Virgin Media was at the time, Telewest or whatever it was called. We just didn't have access to it. Couldn't watch it.
I remember that. Yeah, I think I had Sky, and I think I had a Sky Dish. And I must admit, I did go out and get a digital box. Not like now when you've got Virgin, it can just pick up all the new channels. That was when it was very much a specific box for a specific channel. And it's really weird when you think back because Sky, let's be fair, back then Sky wasn't massive. It was on the radio, it was out there, but it did suddenly take off. But digital, ITV Sports Channel was doomed.
And the damage was felt throughout the Football League for many years to come. On a happier note, Stu, I looked up the number one film that week. Back then, it was Cats and Dogs. Do you know that film? Because I didn't. I looked at it and went, what? I thought it might be a film I'd heard of. I know Cats and Dogs. Didn't ring any bells to me.
No, none for me. And to be fair, film-wise, I can take or leave it. But no, wasn't aware of Cats and Dogs.
No, Charlton Heston, Toby Maguire, Jeff Goldblum, some big names on it, but I don't remember it at all.
Yeah, big name. Must have missed it at the cinema.
Well, I certainly missed it at the cinema. I have no recollection of this film whatsoever. The number one single was Eternal Flame by Atomic Kitten, which is a great way to finish the podcast this week with a very simple quick-fire question, Stu. Who was your favourite member of Atomic Kitten?
I'm trying to remember who they were now.
We only ever remember one, and that was Kerry Katona. We can't remember the other names. I'll find out for you who the other two were.
I know. I think she's a bit of a fruitcake. She still is now, actually. Do you know what I mean? But she's had more
Liz
coming back.
There you go, Liz McLarnon and Natasha Hamilton.
Yeah, they were a bit cheesy, weren't they? A bit cheesy. And that coming from me, that's quite a statement.
That really is, blimey.
But Eternal Flame was just, because I'm trying to think, who sung that before? Was it the Bangles sung that, didn't they? Eternal Flame. And let's be fair, they had a miles better lead singer. Like, that was one you could watch. But not Atomic Kitten for me.
Natasha Hamilton would have been my favourite personally, but
I can't remember the other two, if I'm being truthful. I just don't. Yeah.
You're not a big Atonic. You don't remember? No. I can picture. I'll always be able to picture them, but everyone just remembers Kerry Fatona. Let's be fair, and that's as we all know, she helped out advertise for Iceland, and as we all know, mums go to Iceland, and as we all know, that's why we can't have the mum.
Oh, bless. I love the way we've on a football podcast we're talking about Atomic. Love it.
We do tend to talk about many weird and wonderful things on the 90s podcast. We've not mentioned wrestling yet, but I will do now, sort of, as it's part of the sign-off. But Stu, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. It's been a nice start to the season.
Hopefully it will be on Saturday as well. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Updates, as we say, from the first two games of the season on Twitter at 9YRS Podcast. But for now, we will sign off. We'll say Alexa Bliss, bag first, milk last. 2 + 2 = 4. And we will speak to you again next Friday.